This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
The time right now is 4:27 here on our Tuesday. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. We begin with this story we've been following now for quite some time. Tenant rights in Indianapolis.
Yeah, and so right now we're talking about the City County Council passing something that they think will help tenants have more rights in their rented properties against landlords when they have issues. Well, that's going on at the same time the Statehouse, the Senate's working on a bill that would give the landlords more rights. So those two things could conflict and one could overpower the other. We're going to be breaking down this for you, what it could mean. A number of you maybe rent here in Indianapolis or you're a landlord, so this could impact a lot of people, and obviously there's some conflict between the state and the city government. So we're going to break down with Kelsey Anderson what that means if one or both of those passes and which one will be really the law of the land.
Yep. We also want to bring in Alyssa Donovan right now so we can take a look at our forecast. We had rainfall all day yesterday, and that trend unfortunately continuing into our Tuesday.
That's right, and we're starting with some patchy fog this morning as well. So a couple things that are going to impact you as you head out this morning. We are seeing some light rain developing to the south, and we're going to continue to see that move across central Indiana today. We're going to see some lighter rainfall than what we saw yesterday. Highs today are going to be into the mid-40s. We're starting with that foggy condition this morning. By the evening, we are going to see a major switch. We're going to switch over to a rain-snow mix and eventually over to just snow. We actually have a winter storm watch in effect for some northern counties, and I'll talk about that a little bit more as we get into the full forecast. The good news is after this system moves through today and tonight, and then tomorrow night, we are going to see some drier conditions for the rest of the week. So we just have to get through the next 24 to 48 hours.
All right, Alyssa, thank you.
Another story we have for you today, our Rafael Sanchez is looking into a job scam. This is something you need to be aware of. It's when these companies contact you, they say that they need you to do some kind of part-time work that will be easy. They're going to give you a check and they're going to tell you to deposit the check, and then you'll have to pay them for maybe the supplies for something that you need. And basically this is a scam. That check is going to bounce, so you're going to be on the line for the bank. They're going to keep you on the line for that check that bounced, plus the money you sent to them, it's gone.
Yeah, and this is a situation that oftentimes people take advantage of because it does seem like a great opportunity.
Yeah.
So we want to warn you of that. And finally, it is Fat Tuesday today. Obviously, not too many celebrations going on here in Indianapolis, but we are going to check in with what is happening down in New Orleans.
Yeah, we'll be looking around the world and talking to you about some Mardi Gras celebrations, Fat Tuesday, what it all means, what people are up to, and we're going to take some live looks in different places, especially maybe down on Bourbon Street, where there's probably a lot of activity even going on at this early hour. We'll have that plus news, weather, and traffic coming up right here on Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Traumatic, heartbreaking, years of sadness.
Now at 4:30 here on Good Morning Indiana, a former foster child who suffered years of abuse is now on a mission to improve the lives of others.
And efforts to protect renters in the Circle City could soon be overruled by state lawmakers. We're working for you this morning, looking into the battle over landlord-tenant relations ordinances.
And the Pacers will be back in action tonight, but the team will be missing one, possibly two key players. We'll tell you who's out and who's in as the team looks to bounce back after a blowout loss. But before we get to those top stories here on your Tuesday, I want to welcome you into Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Alyssa Donovan here. Alyssa, more rainfall.
Yes,
that's
more
basically
rainfall.
all we can say.
We have rain, we have fog this morning, and then we have some snow on the way. So we are not out of the woods yet. Sorry to say it. And we are starting with that patchy fog this morning, so just be aware of that as you head out the door. We're down to just 4 miles of visibility right now in Indianapolis, just 1.25 miles in Muncie, 1.5 miles up in Fort Wayne. So we are starting to see that develop across central Indiana. We're going to continue to see that impact throughout your morning commute. So definitely give yourself just a little bit of extra time. You can see on our satellite and radar that we are just seeing some of those light showers to the south of Bloomington right now. We're going to continue continue to see that spread into Indianapolis as we head through the day today. That's all from that low pressure system that's going to continue to impact us today and into tomorrow before we start to see things clear out by Wednesday night. So we are starting pretty warm this morning with those temperatures in the 40s. As we head through the day, we'll stay in the 40s with our highs just into the mid 40s with those scattered showers here and there throughout the day, starting with that patchy fog. Tonight, we also have a winter storm watch that goes into effect for some areas. I'll have those details coming up in just a few minutes.
Alyssa, thank you. We're keeping a close eye on those wet roads this morning as you're heading out there. Here is a look in the downtown area, I-65 and I-70 at the North Split. As you're heading out the door here in downtown, traffic is moving along up to speed, so that is great news. And around the metro area, no major crashes or delays to slow you down. Covering the Statehouse this morning, an ordinance created by the mayor and approved by the city county council designed to protect Indianapolis renters could soon be overruled by a new Senate bill.
We first told you about the city council's proposals last month. They would require landlords to give tenants a notice of their rights and responsibilities, establish a fund to help tenants with legal aid, prohibit landlords from retaliating against tenants who file complaints, and prohibit discrimination against applicants based on their criminal records. While supporters of the proposals say they're needed to protect renters across the city, opponents say they go too far, not providing enough protections for landlords.
I know a tenant who's staying in the shelter right now, and she was evicted after having a verbal agreement with her landlord to keep her mother-in-law there. When she called the health department because her son burned himself on the broken covers on the electric baseboard heaters, they evicted her. And so she had no protections under the law for that. Well, now she will.
I think where a lot of us have the issue is we're almost putting the landlords in a guilty until proven innocent scenario with the courts for a retaliation of evicting a potentially delinquent or destructive tenant.
The ordinances were ultimately passed by the council, but amendments to Senate Bill 340 would avoid major parts of the proposals. Here's a closer look at the amendments made to the Senate bill. It would prevent all local governments from regulating how landlords screen tenants, security deposits and other fees, lease application process, and rights and responsibilities of tenants. The bill is scheduled for a second reading this week. It will then go on to a full vote. You can learn more about the tenant rights ordinances passed last night, as well as the amendment in the Statehouse at the IndyChannel.com and on the RTV6 app.
Well, thousands of Indiana families could be forced to tear down their homes because of flood concerns. This after the Department of Natural Resources sent notice to residents instructing them to not only leave their homes, but also to tear them down. Lyra Beta says that the DNR determined that her family cabin is in a floodway and it's so dangerous it must be removed. Beta says this is especially painful because her mother bought the cabin just a couple of years before her unexpected death in December.
She just really wanted to save this cabin. She also truly wanted all of her children and grandchildren to always enjoy this cabin. She thought it would be in our family for many years, and she always was telling me, you need to go down to the cabin and enjoy the cabin. And so now that we're having it just ripped away from us with losing all of her investment as well, it's heartbreaking.
The DNR tells us RTV6 it cannot comment right now due to pending litigation and ongoing legal review by an administrative law judge.
It's so easy to blame the system and so easy to blame DCS for not noticing these signs or not picking up on these signs, but how can the community notice?
Everybody can prevent child abuse. That's what one victim of years of abuse believes, and he wants to help train communities to recognize the signs better. Matthew Pfeiffer and his two sisters were molested and abused by their adopted parents for 13 years. His sister Emily escaped one day and alerted someone who called police. 2 years and 8 different foster homes later, just 1 month after Emily aged out of the system, she committed suicide. That's why Matthew is now on a mission to help the community and law enforcement recognize the signs of child abuse. He started a nonprofit called A Voice for Kids. Through that program, he meets with schools, churches, and other groups, sharing habits that kids who are abused might form. He also created his own training program for police officers.
My case, I reached out to law enforcement 4 different times. It was those hang up 911 calls. I vandalized my dad's car, so to speak. It was just opening up the driver door, airing out the back tires, and I put the stuff in the console and strew it all over the ground.
The overwhelming majority of law enforcement officers, they wouldn't even think about that. Well, why are we going back to this house for the 3rd time in 2 weeks? Because somebody's letting air out, their tires, and you just don't think to interview the kids.
Matthew is currently working with the Delaware County Sheriff's Office. The same training will be implemented soon at the Muncie Police Department. The sheriff encourages other agencies to consider contacting the organization as well.
In other news this morning, the teen accused of killing 2 siblings last year is expected to be in court today. 15-year-old Lamatria Sanders is being charged as an adult. Police say he shot and killed 15-year-old Ashlyn Nelson and her brother, 16-year-old Nicholas Nelson. Court documents released Monday show Sanders told detectives that the shooting was an accident. He says he was in Ashlyn's bedroom when Nicholas came in with a gun. The 2 boys started fighting, and Sanders says that's when a gun went off a couple of times. Sanders says the fight went outside where someone pulled his hoodie over his head and he got scared, so he shot Ashlyn in the head and then shot Nicholas again. Sanders is facing several charges, including 2 counts of murder.
A southern Indiana school district is working to deal with a suspected vaping problem after multiple students and teachers have had to be transported to the hospital for illness in the past couple of weeks. Madison Consolidated Schools in Jefferson County says it's been briefing parents about the issue at Madison High School on a regular basis. According to the district, since February 6th, 8 students and 2 teachers have been transported to the emergency room with symptoms linked to vaping. Madison Consolidated Schools has put together a plan to help combat the use of vaping devices on campus. The plan includes educating students, parents, and staff members, providing assistance to help prevent addiction, and an enhanced student disciplinary policy regarding vaping.
It's a step in the right direction in providing better resources for behavioral health. The Hospital for Behavioral Medicine in Plainfield broke ground yesterday. You're looking at a rendering for it right now. The Hendricks Regional Health Facility is planned to provide a full array of specialized inpatient and outpatient behavioral services. That includes addiction treatment. The hospital is slated to open early next year.
Back here in Indianapolis, a facility that serves the northeast side will receive $1.4 million in grants.
That money will help the Edna Martin Christian Center launch phase 2 of its expansion on its 2nd site, the Leadership and Legacy campus on Ralston Avenue, south of Douglas Park. And officials say the funding will help the center expand food access, offer early education programs, help strengthen community-led development projects, and much more.
Certainly at the end of the phase, we'll have the introduction of our Entrepreneurship Center, our Playscape, our full dedication for our senior room, which we're naming in honor of Pastor Alexander, and it's just going to be a great time.
Well, the Edna Martin Christian Center was founded in 1941 as a faith-based agency aimed at bridging cultural, racial, and economic differences.
Franklin College has a new president. The school announced that acting president Carrie Prather has the job effective immediately. Prather has served Franklin College for 38 years in various capacities. His previous positions include athletic director and head men's basketball coach. After the season, he will step down as coach. He replaces Dr. Thomas Miner, who was fired last month after his arrest in Wisconsin on child sex crime charges. Franklin College will renew its presidential search in March of 2021 with the goal of selecting a president to take office during the summer of 2022.
Your Indiana Pacers will be back in action at Bankers Life Fieldhouse tonight, but the team will be without a key player. Monday, the team announced that Jeremy Lamb would be out for the season after suffering a serious knee injury during Indiana's loss to Toronto. Lamb was in his first season for Indiana, averaging 12 points per game. And Victor Oladipo's return to the court is expected to be a game-time decision. He's working through a back injury that kept him out of Sunday's game. Tip-off for tonight's game is set for 7 o'clock.
Disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein has been convicted on rape and criminal sex charges in New York. Straight ahead why he's not waking up in jail this morning.
And you could score a free short stack today and maybe even for life. We'll tell you how coming right up. Alyssa?
And we are starting the morning with some patchy fog and some rainfall throughout the day. A dreary day on tap leading to a winter storm warning, rather a winter storm watch tonight. I'll have the details coming up.
Exclusively at Menards.
Disgraced movie producer Harvey Weinstein is in the hospital overnight after a jury convicted him of rape.
He was being transported to Rikers Island when he was suddenly rerouted to the hospital. ABC's Kenneth Moten has the details.
Moments after being convicted of rape and sexual assault, a judge ordered Harvey Weinstein to Rikers Island in New York. But he was diverted, strapped to a stretcher in his suit, and sent to the hospital after complaining of chest pains.
We just heard before coming on that he was experiencing some high blood pressure and some heart palpitations.
This morning, his defense team says it will appeal the verdict after a jury found Weinstein guilty of the third-degree rape of Jessica Mann in 2013 and guilty of sexually assaulting Mimi Halei in 2006.
Weinstein is a vicious serial sexual predator who used his power to threaten, rape, assault, trick, humiliate, and silence his victims.
The former movie mogul appeared stunned by the jury's decision as he was lifted out of his seat.
He looked at me and he just said, "I'm innocent." He's like, "I'm innocent." He's like, you know, how could this happen in America?
The jury acquitted Weinstein on 2 counts of predatory sexual assault, which carried a possible life sentence, as well as a charge of first-degree rape. But he's still facing a possible 25 years in prison when he's sentenced next month. More than 80 women have accused Weinstein of sexual misconduct. Survivors and activists are calling the verdict a moment of reckoning for the Me Too movement. The organization releasing a statement saying the verdict is proof that no one is above the law, not even those with power, money, or visibility. This case reminds us that sexual violence thrives on unchecked power and privilege. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, New York.
Here at 4:45 in Chicago, actor Jussie Smollett has pleaded not guilty to charges of making false reports to police. The former Empire star is accused of staging a fake hate crime against himself. Last year, Smollett told Chicago police he was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack. Police later said the whole thing was a hoax. They eventually charged Smollett with lying, but those charges were dropped. A special prosecutor was asked to investigate the case. The result, 6 new charges against Smollett. Yesterday, his attorneys filed to have the case dismissed, citing double jeopardy. Smollett is due back in court March 18th.
In Washington, the U.S. Supreme Court says it will not take up an appeal from death row inmate Rodney Reed. He was sentenced to death more than 20 years ago for the assault, rape, and strangling of 19-year-old Stacey Stites. But his attorneys say they have evidence that could exonerate him. They say the state of Texas relied on evidence that was later proven to be scientifically invalid. Reed's death sentence is currently on hold because of separate state proceedings. The case has garnered attention from several lawmakers, religious leaders, and celebrities, including Kim Kardashian West and Rihanna.
Also in Washington, the Supreme Court has agreed to take up a case that pits rules protecting same-sex couples from discrimination against religious liberties. Justices agreed Monday to hear an appeal by a Catholic foster agency. The organization says it's in danger of losing its government funding because it cannot recruit and certify same-sex couples as potential foster parents. Lawyers for the ACLU, which is involved in the case, say that the case could have, quote, profound consequences, unquote, for the more than 400,000 children in foster care across the country. The case is expected to be argued sometime this fall. Here at 447, more than 20,000 friends, fans, and legends of the game gathered in the Staples Center on Monday to celebrate Kobe Bryant's life and the life of his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna.
The ceremony was held on a symbolic date, 2/24, the numbers representing Kobe and Gianna's basketball jersey numbers. The memorial opened with a performance from Beyonce that was followed by remarks from Jimmy Kimmel before Vanessa Bryant took to the stage, delivering an emotional tribute to Kobe and Gigi. And though there were plenty of tears, there were also lighter moments.
Now he's got me. I'll have to look at another crime meme for the next. I told my wife I wasn't going to do this because I didn't want to see that for the next 3 or 4 years. That is what Kobe Bryant does to me.
The day Kobe gave my respect was the guys were complaining. Said, Shaq, Kobe's not passing the ball. I said, I'll talk to him. I said, Kobe, there's no I in team. And Kobe said, I know, but there's an in me in that.
The event also honored the 7 others who died in the helicopter crash along with Kobe and Gianna. Here at 448, I do not like the looks of what's behind you, Alyssa.
It's a little peek of what's to come, which is we do have some snowfall expected in the forecast. The headlines today, though, is starting with that patchy fog, and then we have some scattered rain showers throughout the day before we do see that switch to some snow overnight. So we do have some changes coming our way, and we also have some colder temperatures as we head towards the end of the week. Taking a look at our visibility right now, we have that patchy fog starting to develop across the area. We're down to just 4 miles in Indianapolis this morning, just 1.25 miles for Muncie, 1.5 miles up near Fort Wayne. So we're seeing that patchy fog develop. Give yourself a little bit of extra time as you head out the door this morning. What's going on is we're still being impacted by this low pressure system that's slowly moving across the area. That's going to continue to impact us today and into tomorrow. So we're seeing just some light showers to the south this morning. We're going to continue to see that spread into the area throughout the day. These are just going to be light hit and miss showers throughout our Tuesday, and that's going to continue throughout the day before the evening hits. That's when we are going to hit with some snow showers moving into the area from the northwest, and those are going to continue to spread into the north or into the southeast overnight. So that's because we have that low pressure system that's going to interact with a cold front that's moving through, causing some colder air, which is why we are going to see that snowfall. Continuing to see that snowfall into tomorrow as well, which is why we do have a winter storm watch that goes into effect tonight, and that lasts until Wednesday night. That's for areas just to the north of Indianapolis. That's where we're expecting the highest snowfall totals and the potential of some heavy snowfall rates. So we're looking at maybe 3 to 5 inches for those areas in blue. Here across Indianapolis, we're seeing kind of a mixture of snow totals, and it sort of depends on where that system hits. We could see anywhere from just 1/2 inch of snowfall by Wednesday up to 4 inches across central Indiana. So we kind of have a mixture of expectations with this system moving through, and of course we'll keep an eye on that for you. But the one thing that is sure is we do have that winter storm watch in effect starting tonight and lasting until tomorrow night. Today we're starting with that patchy fog this morning. Temperatures staying pretty stagnant throughout the day. We'll climb into the low 40s, and that's where we're at right now. That rain is going to continue, really hit and miss showers for your Tuesday, and then we do have that snow mixing in tonight, and then that snow expected throughout the day on Wednesday, and then we could see some accumulation from that as well, anywhere from 1/2 inch to about 3.5 inches across central Indiana. Some of those higher totals to the north of us. Behind that, much drier weather takes over just in time for the weekend.
Alyssa, thank you. The outbreak of the new coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, is not only posing a health threat, the economic impact is growing. Cases of the virus are spreading outside of China. Italy hit especially hard. Cases there rocketed up from 3 to more than 200 just within the last week. And just this morning, South Korea is reporting 84 more cases of the virus, bringing the total number of infections to 977. And there's also a financial factor. Monday, the Dow dropped more than 1,000 points, and stock markets worldwide also took a plunge. The White House is now requesting a $1.25 billion in emergency funds to address the disease. Senators are expected to meet for a classified briefing about the growing crisis this morning.
If you're looking for breakfast plans, why not head to IHOP, and you get a free short stack of pancakes today in honor of the restaurant's annual National Pancake Day. You could also win some sweet swag. IHOP is giving away bikes, scooters, and jackets, and one lucky grand prize winner will get free pancakes for life. The day also serves as a fundraiser. Diners are encouraged to donate to IHOP's partner charities, Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, Shriners Hospitals for Children, and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. IHOP says it's raised more than $30 million since the annual event started back in 2006. And get ready to overindulge because it's Fat Tuesday. Coming up, a look at the celebrations all across the country.
And coming up at 5, jet fuel from a fiery tanker crash last week is already having an impact on the environment, how it's affecting local waterways, and the plan to clean it up. It's 4:52. We'll see you back here after the break.
Cut up your king cake and get out those beads. It is Fat Tuesday. This is a live look in New Orleans right now. Bourbon Street. A little messy. Looks like they had a good time there last night. It's Fat Tuesday, or Mardi Gras, the last day before Lent begins on Ash Wednesday.
That's why it's often associated with overindulging in food and drink, while Mardi Gras has its origin in ancient Roman times. The colorful and lavish modern celebrations began in 16th century France. And in America, New Orleans is also known as the Mardi Gras capital, but celebrations aren't just for the Louisiana city. Mobile, Alabama, where the holiday originally started in America, is home to some of the oldest traditions related to the celebration. In Dallas, the city celebrates Texas style with a blowout country music festival. I know they also do it up big in St. Louis, I believe. So a lot of people are going to be having some fun here over the next few days. However, us here in central Indiana, it's good that we don't have a parade that we're anticipating,
Not
because
very good parade weather.
It wouldn't be very fun.
No, and we had some quick changes to our forecast over just the past 24 hours, and that includes some accumulating snowfall that's going to come in overnight tonight. We're going to see rain showers throughout our Tuesday, patchy fog to start, highs in the 40s. That snow comes in tonight and kicks in throughout our Wednesday.